I played for years with nothing between me and my amp except a guitar, a cable, and a whole lot of volume. I kind of thought that's how it was supposed to be, pure, simple, and honest. As my playing evolved, I realized my tone needed to evolve with it. I wanted more control, more color, more ways to shape the sound that I had in my head. And I knew pedals were the answer. But what I didn't know was where to start. Pedals sort of confused me. Like, what goes where? Does the order of the pedals matter? And what the is an effects loop? And of course, I felt silly asking. Now, if this video would have been around back then, I would have liked, subscribed, commented, everything. Hint, hint. This video is for the players out there, ready to take that next step, but aren't sure how. Maybe you've been afraid to ask, but don't worry, Uncle Natchet's got you. This is Pedalboards 101, and welcome to the shed. All right, welcome to Uncle Natchet's Woodshed, the channel I wished I had when I was starting out. Now, Pedalboards 101. So, why use pedals at all? Well, first of all, I hope you all got yourself a good muting tuner pedal. I've already talked about this ad nauseum in previous videos, I know. That should be your first pedal. It'll mute your signal while you're tuning and keep you from sounding like a dying cat mid-set. Now, again, why pedals? Well, pedals give you options. Overdrive, reverb, delay, modulation, compression, distortion, and many, many, many more. Sky's the limit. They let you shape your tone like you're painting with new colors. Some folks just want subtle texture. Others want wild effects. You get to decide. This is your palette. I will throw in one caveat. To some people, this can be quite addicting. A lot of tone junkies out there, just saying. Now, here's the important part. This video isn't the law. It's just a good place to start. And remember, rules were meant to be broken, except maybe the rules about power supply and electricity basics. Your sound will evolve and your setup may look completely different a few years down the road. So flip things, experiment, even bend the rules. Just understand them first. Remember, you're the artist. Next up, power. Every pedal needs it, but not all power is created equal. Most pedals run on 9 volts, although some run on 12 and some run on 18 volts. The higher ones are especially true for things like reverb and boost pedals, which may need that extra headroom to stay clean and punchy. Now, the adapters you're using with your pedals convert the electricity from the wall, which is 120 volts in the US or 230 to 240 volts in Europe and Asia, down to what the pedal actually needs. You can actually take a look at the adapter and it will show you, see here, it'll say what the input voltage is, and that's usually a range because these adapters will usually work in the US or in Europe or other places. So you can see here, this is a range, so this will work for both the US and Europe or Asia, or anywhere that just has between this range of voltage coming from the wall. And the output here is what the output voltage will be. So if your pedal is running on 9 volts, you'll see here, it says the output voltage matches that. So it's basically stepping down the voltage from the wall all the way down to what your pedal actually requires to function properly. And yeah, some pedals still will take 9-volt batteries, but that is quickly becoming a thing of the past. Batteries die mid-set and nobody wants to tear apart a pedal board on stage, at least no one I can think of. Now, you can power your pedal board a lot of different ways. You can use a bunch of adapters and just plug them all into one big power strip. Others use daisy chains, linking the pedals to the in and out power ports. This is simple and cheap, but it can introduce hum, ground loops, and a lot of noise. The cleanest and most reliable method is to invest in a proper isolated power supply. These give each pedal its own clean power source, reducing noise and keeping your board tidy and road ready. Bottom line, always double check what voltage your pedals require and don't assume that one plug fits all. Build a power system that is reliable, quiet, and ready for the long haul. Now, let's get into signal chain basics. This is where most beginners, including me, get overwhelmed and confused. What order do you put your pedals in and does it really matter? Yeah, it matters, so let me break it down a little bit for you. Now, Here is the basic signal chain order, going from the guitar to the amp. Now again, like I said, this isn't law, this is just a suggestion to get you started out. Here we go. Basic signal chain order from the guitar to the amp. First pedal in the chain, your tuner. Next, we go to dynamics. Now these are things like an EQ or a compressor. After that, we get into gain. These are pedals that are overdrive, distortion, fuzz. Next will be your modulation pedals. These are things like chorus, tremolo, phaser, etc. And lastly, we'll put our time-based pedals. These are like delay and reverb. That's your basic foundation. Each stage builds on the one before it. Gain affects the raw tone, modulation adds movement, and delay and reverb finish it off with space and depth. But here's something that we often skip at the start. Notice how every pedal has an in and an out. The in is your guitar signal going into the pedal. The out is the signal leaves and continues through the chain. So in is the guitar signal going into the pedal. Out, the signal leaves and goes onto the chain. Some pedals, especially tuners, have a bypass jack or function. Now, meaning your signal goes through without engaging the effect. That's different from the out jack, which actually passes the effect signal. The effects loop, what it is and why it matters. If your amp has an effects loop, sometimes labeled as send and return, you've got another way to clean up your sound. An effects loop lets you place certain pedals after your amp's preamp section. That means your reverb, delay, and some modulation effects don't get smashed by distortion or overdrive. They stay clean, clear, and punchy. Now, you'll run a cable from your amp's send because it is getting sent from the amp into the first pedal in the effects loop, usually your delay or reverb. Then out of the last pedal in the loop, back into the amp's return because it is returning to the amp. And that's the basics of the effects loop. This keeps your gain and distortion pedals in front of the amp, while your time-based effects live in the loop where they belong. If your amp has an effects loop, use it. It is a tone game changer. Next, start simple and grow smart. Here's the last thing I'll say, and it might be the most important. Don't build a spaceship on day one. Start simple. First, know your amp's natural tone inside and out. Then start with one or two pedals, a tuner, maybe an overdrive, and maybe a reverb. Learn how they behave. Dial them in. Know how to turn them on or off during a song without wrecking your tone or train wrecking the set. It takes a little practice and mastery. I've seen many a player struggling with these stomp boxes on stage and often to disastrous results. Pedals are powerful, but only when you control them. And sometimes less is more. And sometimes more is more. Either way, it's up to you. This is your rig, your sound, you own it. If this helped you get started or cleared up some confusion, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe share it with someone who's building their first board. Good luck. Happy stomp boxing. And until next time, go make some noise and keep woodshedding.